Welcome, everybody, to the Raad Life, the only talk radio show that takes you along with host and age explorer Rod Gantos on his continuing journey of discovery into life's challenges, opportunities, options, and all the latest and greatest things that come with getting older. The Raad Life is brought to you this week by Your Home for a Lifetime, a company dedicated to empowering you to stay safely, independently, and comfortably in your own home. And now here is your host, Rod Gantos.
You know what? It's kind of interesting that the last ad that we ran before the show was about waste management.
We didn't waste any space today.
No. I'm just thinking that, we have a lot of waste when it comes to local politics, so this is like a perfect lead-in, actually.
We're going to clean up the system?
Actually, you're just feeding Jackson, man. One thing after the other
Come
here.
on.
Let's see. Clean up, environment, waste, management. So, we do have a political waste management problem.
So true.
Okay?
We do. Toxic waste.
I think, yes, especially of late. Toxic, and it's really poisoning my morning coffee every time I turn the news on.
Yeah.
And I think it's not a problem necessarily limited to Orange County. I think it's a nationwide problem. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a political waste problem in this country. Okay,
and isn't that the first part of a recovery
And we
program?
need a cleanup. I understand we tried to do a clearing of the swamp a couple of years ago, but that didn't seem to have taken.
So in the true 12-step approach,
the first thing is to admit that you have a problem.
Right.
We have a problem.
Absolutely.
Okay, the second thing is to blame everybody else for it. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, but that seems to be how politics is these days, right? We've got a problem. We all admit there's a problem. In fact, there are so many problems we don't know what other problems we can find between the problems that we're talking about, and we keep pointing fingers. I swear to God, sometimes it's like it reminds me of my bread and butter 9 to 5 job of being on job sites, where subcontractors point fingers at other subcontractors, and contractors point fingers at ownership, and everybody points fingers in all opposite directions.
I'm pointing a finger at somebody whose phone's ringing here.
Yeah, whose phone is ringing? We it's okay. All right, so. That's what you get, though, the technology and the disruption. This is live radio, so this is how the sausage is made. Plus, we have, I don't even know if you guys even qualify for millennials. Do you even qualify for millennials?
Generation Z.
You're
we're at the
Zers.
cutoff. Yeah.
They're Generation Z, man. It's just like, are you feeling old, Paul? I'm feeling old.
So what's the name of the group? What are you guys doing?
So two of the gentlemen that are here today have been on the show before, and they introduced this group to us a couple months ago. And at that point, they said, or they warned, or they threatened, or something, that they were going to be running for city council in San Clemente, my hometown. And
These are kids. These are kids running for city council. Come on.
Are you done, old man? Okay. The train is leaving the station, and you're too slow to get on it. Okay?
The future's here. Yeah.
And the future's here, and you're too slow to get on the
Future's
caboose.
here. I like it. The future is here.
Yeah, just wave.
Today.
Just wave. Wave as the train leaves the station. Okay. All right. So Jackson and Jake were here a couple months ago, and they talked about the formation. They both co-founded Orange County Students for City Council. And I thought it was a really interesting approach because, in general, we talk about the youth being disengaged. We talk about the youth not really being involved. Nobody shows up for midterm elections. Oh, my God, midterm elections.
Yeah,
Who shows up for that, right? There's not enough collateral material and free merchandise from candidates for midterm elections.
Not enough swag.
Yeah, there's not enough swag for midterm elections. But there has been a change happening. And if you've been paying attention, as I like to think I have been for the last 10 years, there is an engagement level that happens with the young people. We saw it a little bit in 2008 with Obama, and then it kind of fizzled a little bit, but then that seed was planted. And then with Bernie Sanders, last election cycle, I saw the repeat echo of that same thing that happened in 2008, and it's taken on in a different format, okay? It's not people that are, it's younger. It's people that are pre-registering in the state of California. You can pre-register to vote at the age of 17.
What?
They're pre-registering while they're still in high school and can't wait to vote. Now, remember, this is a generation that could care less about getting their driving license at the age of 18.
Oh, my God, I couldn't wait to get my driver's license.
Driving license, nah, Mom will drive me around. I don't really want the cost of
Voting, who
insurance or a
cares?
car or a car payment. No, seriously. But, I mean, we joke about this, but keep this in mind. A generation that has been known, and like mind-bogglingly for not caring about whether they go get their driving license the minute they turn 18 and go sit for that test, okay, is the same generation that can't wait to pre-register to go vote, okay? Are you paying attention, Orange County? Are you paying attention, America, right? There is a wave It's not a blue wave. It's a young youth wave that's happening. And these are people that are engaged. They're savvy. They're knowledgeable. They are internet savvy and connected, okay? And they have skill sets that are similar to baby boomers. And we talk about baby boomers and millennials, but I think Gen Z is even more, where they're active, they're involved, they're engaged, they're building networks, they're going out there and engaging in different things. Jackson, before you guys did this, I know you were involved. Both of you guys were involved on the environmental stuff against the toll road. You brought out the environmental club from Orange County High School for that. And you said when you were here, both of you guys said when you were here last time, is that you are actively involved in trying to get people to run at different city councils, because you identified something, and if I remember correctly, something like 19 seats or something of that nature. Maybe it was less. 96
across
seats
Orange County.
Across Orange County that were up for election, this election cycle.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God, like I got to pay attention to this group, because if this is a midterm election and this is the upswell, imagine what happens 2 years from now when it's a general election.
Right.
What happens when these guys have a little seasoning and a little bit of time on the ground and have built a network that has now a brand recognizability in Orange County? Talk about what happens 10 years from now when these guys are either themselves running or they're basically promoting other people that are students in Orange County to run for those seats.
So you're 4 to 6 weeks out, depending on when people hear this. You're right up against it. How you guys doing? How many seats are you contesting?
How many people do you have running?
How many people do you have running, and how you doing?
For this election cycle, we have 5 candidates who are going to be vying for seats all across Orange County.
And when you say Orange County, tell people, because it does actually spread. It's not all like South County.
True.
So where are the people running in this election cycle?
Yeah, so myself, I'm running in Mission Viejo.
And introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Mmoud Al Far. I attend Saddleback College as of right now. I'm the administrative coordinator of budget at the student government. I got involved with OC Students for City Council when I first met Jackson at a CUSD board meeting. So I went up to him and said, "Hey, my name's Mmoud." He's like, "Oh."
And he strong-armed you into
guys,
it.
you
like,
guys
"You gotta
hanging
run."
out at a CSUD, Capistrano
CUSD, yeah.
That's where all the cool kids are
Unified
at.
School District
Yeah.
board meeting, just where all the young people go
That's where
hang
all
out
the
there.
cool
Yeah.
kids go nowadays, is what I've heard. But yeah, that's where I first met Jackson, because I wanted to get more involved in politics, but I didn't know how. I didn't know where the mic was. And then I snooped through Jackson's bio on his Instagram, saw that he was running for city council in San Clemente. And I thought, well, if this 18-year-old kid could run, then why can't I?
Yeah.
Right.
So I knew I had to do something.
And how old are you?
I'm 18.
And
Okay.
had you had any interest?
Yeah, so I've always been interested in politics my entire life. I'm a proud registered Democrat. My grandfather and father, they're proud registered Republicans. So we'd always go back and forth, and we always keep it civilized. And I feel like nowadays, with how politics is, it's extremely polarized.
Yeah,
And
you
it's-
can't have a different opinion
You
without.
can't,
Yeah.
and that's something that's so tragic, in my opinion, because we're the youth, we're the people that are experiencing this firsthand, and this is all we've experienced.
And you guys have the generation is going to have to figure out the mess we're leaving with you.
Exactly.
Because I said this the other day. I was having a big debate.
That's why I
at
said we have a
luncheon.
political waste.
yeah.
problem.
I don't know. I am a registered Democrat, but I probably grew up a liberal Republican, something that doesn't exist any longer here. It seems
Is that a
Sad.
like
Dying
a
breed.
No,
Yeah.
I think that's like a
contradiction
Reformed
in
Catholic,
terms-
isn't
yeah,
it?
right. And because liberal on social issues, I don't care what you do, but conservative when you spend the money. That was my take.
But
on
isn't
it.
most people that aren't
I
most
think
people
they are.
conservative, fiscally conservative, socially
the
liberal?
last libertarian candidate said that's where most people lie. I think that, and certainly as you get older, you get more conservative about spending money, and probably you get more anti-change. But I think most people don't care about social change; they care about their pocketbooks. Now, having said that, I don't know. I just had this debate the other day. I don't know that either party has an answer for the loss of jobs through automation. I don't know either party has an answer for.
Well, let's pose the question.
On and on and on. I can list problems. Say,
But
they're all
let's
screaming at
let's-
each
let
other,
me
saying
pose-
it's your fault.
Let me pose that question, Paul, because I agree with you 100%. I don't think the parties are in the business of solution anymore.
No.
I think the parties are in the business of basically blaming the other party
Yes.
or saying, vote for me because I'm not the other person.
Exactly.
So here's an opportunity right now to talk about this, okay? And let's keep it sort of to the local. First of all, I want to give the opportunity for Jackson and Jake to also reintroduce themselves. So
Yes,
please
right.
go ahead and take a chance, guys, for a minute.
Yeah.
Just introduce who you are.
Yeah, my name's Jackson Hinkle. I'm running for San Clemente City Council, and I turned 19 a few days ago, so I'm
Wow.
past that 18
You're the
mark,
old man.
but-
He almost is disqualified to run as an
Yeah.
Orange County student.
yeah, and I'm also attending Saddleback College.
Yeah.
And what are you majoring in? Do you know?
Environmental science.
which is directly fitting with what you have been involved in for years while you were in school.
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
with environmental. And then Jake, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm Jake Ripschick. I'm also running in San Clemente with Jackson. I've always been organizing. I'm an organizer. That's what I'm about. All the issues I'm sure we're going to go over today. Always been organizing around that. Right now I go to Saddleback College, and I'm actually the director of budget at our ASG.
I didn't know the Saddleback is such a center for radicalism and anarchism here.
Especially when they're sitting in representation of the club, the budget representation.
Right.
Of Saddleback.
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't know
like,
this
oh
is
my
a-
God,
we got to shut Saddleback down.
They're not trying to be
revolutionaries.
It's not the
there.
cannabis club on Saddleback. It's actually the budget.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I'm like,
not the
my
cannabis
God,
budget,
I wish
yeah.
I was that responsible when I went to college. Okay,
I think-
you, I know for sure were not in the budget club.
I was in the cannabis
He was in the
club.
cannabis club.
Yeah, I think what Jake's taught me most in his time serving as director of budget, and
You make that sound like a sentence. Time served.
yeah, no.
Have you
You
seen
guys
the
were
budget?
saying like it wouldn't normally be something that like young people would be interested in, but I
No.
think that there's a new wave of individuals who are pushing for fiscally responsible solutions
Yeah.
to the moral and social issues that we're facing.
Yeah.
Say that again, because that's really powerful.
Yeah.
Morally responsible solutions to the fiscal problems we face. Is there a moral solution to a money problem?
Yes, I would argue that. I would
Okay.
argue that any problem we're facing, there's going to be fiscally responsible solutions to them.
Well, there's always a reality of cost and budget and time involvement, right? And sensitivity to time, especially if you're really genuinely interested in having a solution. You can't just kick the can down the road forever and only bring it up as to promote your campaign.
We've
when
been
it's
trying
up
that for a long
election.
time. It's been working.
Yeah, has it really? That's not why you're leaving.
Well, for-
leaving Gen Xers
for
like
the
me the mess that
politicians.
you're leaving me.
For the politicians,
and it
it's
trickles
working.
down to the Z's. So okay, now I know
Z used to be
I
because they
understand.
were asleep. Z generation.
I understand your involvement on the environmental side,
Yes.
and you're majoring in that because it's totally directly linked to what you've been involved in and put a lot of passion in. Why director of budget, Jake?
Well, I mean,
Nothing else was on the.
no, I mean,
the cool
there's-
jobs were gone.
There's so many different goals that we have at Saddleback College, so many different things we're trying to accomplish, like getting affordable housing. We have over 1,300 homeless students at Saddleback
Oh, my
College.
God.
And my
But you just used that dirty word. You just said affordable housing. I mean, I don't want to house all those people that are from the wrong side of the tracks.
Absolutely.
I'm being totally
Yeah.
facetious on
No,
the
yeah,
other
yeah.
reason, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Playing
because
devil's
when you
advocate,
say
of
when you
course.
say no, I think facetious is probably the word, right? But and there's probably a little sarcasm thrown in there too. But when you explain that, because when you say affordable housing for students, and this is Saddleback College, so let's remember this is a community college.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, this is not some technical school on this side of Compton. This is South County affluent community college that provides a very good caliber of education. In fact, you could argue that community colleges now have some of the best education that's
Right.
out there for the
Right.
money to be fiscally conservative about what you're spending for your
Yeah.
education,
Yeah,
right?
I'd agree.
So explain to people when you say affordable housing, Jake, for students, who are those recipients? Who does this benefit?
I mean, there are people that are commuting an hour out just to get to Saddleback. Orange County is at an all-time high when it comes to housing prices,
Right.
and there are people who are living in one room, 5 people living in one room, and they're all paying $500. So housing rent, the prices of rent, they're absolutely crazy. And when we talk about homeless students, a lot of these students, they're still living in their cars.
Yep.
So their battle
Going
definitely
to
is
college, living in your car.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so the budget, we're kind of in charge of spending the money. So a lot of that is making the policies happen that we want to see happen. So that's what I'm kind of all about. But on top of that, there needs to be some responsibility at Saddleback.
But you, I mean, again, I'm being sarcastic and facetious.
Yeah.
Okay. But these
Two
have-
qualities you revel in
I
here.
revel in. I wear them very proudly, left and right side of my shoulders. Okay. But honestly, okay. Come on, these people living in their cars, they're looking for affordable housing. I mean, that's kind of like a handout. They got to be like illegal, right? I mean, they got to be from.
Got to be.
I mean,
Right?
if we
Come on, this is
it's an
South County. This is
Yeah.
affluent South County. Everybody lives in a gated community.
Good
Come on.
kids
Well,
can
come on,
find
good-
places
Good kids
to live.
don't live in their cars.
It's an investment. Education is an investment. You invest in students, you invest in their future, and at the end of the day, that's going to help stimulate the economy. It's going to help grow jobs.
And-
It's
Yeah.
yeah.
So now I will take that sarcastic hat off, and I will say
Yeah.
this, okay? For everybody that basically has a problem or chokes on the words affordable housing, I don't care what you call it. Call it, more pleasant, more cost-effective. I don't care what you come up with.
Yeah.
More pleasant
You want
housing.
to sugarcoat it, put a rosy-colored glasses on it. I don't care, okay? But get your heads out of your proverbial behind and
happy housing.
understand
Yeah.
that when you basically talk against affordable housing in affluent areas, especially places, and I will be very specific, like San Clemente, and I know, my God, the minute the words come out, it's like, oh, we got pitchforks and torches and ride these undesirables out of town, right? The undesirables that you're talking about, in most cases, wake up, are the youth that are born and raised in your communities. Those are the future leadership of your communities. Those are the future tax base for your communities that basically don't need a hand out. They need assistance to make sure that they can continue to be providers in their communities, involved in their communities, and you don't lose them to the cheaper desert neighborhoods. Because guess what happens when you have that void in your future leadership? The people that will be running for city councils, the people that will be running for stuff, are people that don't really have a vested interest in your communities. They've moved in from Villa Park, they've come in from the inland areas, and now they're basically saying, nah, I don't really like the way you culturally are set up. I'm going to want to change it to be a reflection of myself.
Right.
And what have you done? Because you didn't go that extra mile to provide for your own born and raised beyond a certain point when they want to start
So
their
I'm going to
life.
call up your dad with
basically
his
put-
nice house over in San Clemente, and I'm going to say we're going to put affordable housing next door. What's he going to say?
I'm going to say, can I see what the architecture looks like?
Yeah.
And by the way,
right.
when you say affordable housing, put a price tag on that, Paul. What do you think affordable housing in San Clemente is?
Poor people.
What's the price for affordable housing in San Clemente?
Scary people.
What's the amount that you pay for every month for
people
affordable housing?
don't look like me?
Right. So guess what? You are one razor's edge medical expense from being a person who is homeless living in your car.
Yeah.
Amen.
Just like a student going to Saddleback.
Amen.
Yeah,
So-
one $10,000 cost could put people right into poverty.
Really?
Over $80,000, $86,000 to $89,000 income qualifies you for aid in Orange County.
I'm poor.
As an individual,
Absolutely.
right? You tell me how many people you know that are making $100,000 or more in Orange County.
Exactly.
Okay, but we talk about it like, oh yeah, no, that's somebody else's problem. Like, this issue is only Santa Ana. It's only
But
Long Beach.
You know
it's
what it
only
goes
Compton.
to?
It's
And again, I like to hear
East
their
LA.
take on this. We are in a moment in time when we're not thinking logically. We're thinking emotionally. All the anger that bubbled up from my Midwestern friends that elected the current president wasn't based on fact that the Mexicans are raping our women and robbing our houses and selling drugs to our kids and taking care of them. It was a fear. It's fear-based stuff. It's emotional-based stuff. Arguments on both sides to a large degree. And when you try and logically lay it out like you're saying, come on, what does this mean? We don't want to think logically. We're reacting emotionally. Affordable housing. Others.
I don't even want you to be logical about it. I want you to be smart about it.
No.
I want you to be a little smart and a little forward thinking.
we're-
If you don't solve the problem today, if you don't deal with the health issues today, you don't deal with the cost of certain things today, it's only going to magnify the problem down the road. And that is your inheritance. That is your legacy to the next generation, everybody.
But you're talking logically to a large group of people that are acting emotionally right now. They're afraid.
Well, guess
They're
what?
angry. They're frightened.
Guess what? Get over it.
I think the important thing is people are going to start seeing the outside influence in our local elections, just like you said, and they're going to be coming back and saying, we want candidates who are from this community, who've lived here for generations, their families have been here for generations, and they understand what it means to be a small town.
You know why, Jackson? I will tell you something about human nature that I have noticed. 53 years, not as old as Paul, but I will tell you something about human nature.
I'm old.
Okay, and it's universal. You cannot continue to put people in a stressful situation endlessly. People will
Yes.
react against the stress at some point,
I
and,
hope so.
and it will either break or they will push very much against it.
I think we're seeing that right
and
now.
that is what's
Yeah.
happening right now in every aspect of this on a national
And isn't
level
that what
or
the
local.
outside influences, and you can name them whatever, in some cases
There's
they're
a breaking
developers
point.
or
There's a
whatever.
tipping point.
But they come in and they stoke fear. They stoke doubt. They provoke division. And that's how they get what they want. They come in and they get everybody emotionally wound up, and then you don't think logically about any of these
Well,
issues.
and you're living paycheck to paycheck. You're worried about how you're going to make your mortgage payment. You don't really have time to engage on a deep level and look into issues deeply. So, the fact, again, I come back full circle. For gentlemen like these that are sitting in the studio with us, to basically be so committed to engage in being in public service, to be engaged and take the time that is precious time at this point in their lives that they could be spending on all kinds of other things, and basically put it in something as serious as this, you guys should be commended. And I have to tell you, I was very disappointed and ashamed a little bit of some of the pushback that happened in San Clemente simply because you guys are a certain age. You know what? There's a whole bunch of people that were bad-mouthing you guys that I wouldn't give a time of day to because they were the ones acting childish.
Yes, I get it. We're acting. We're not acting logic. We're not saying, can these kids really provide a new voice and a new perspective? We're saying they're kids. They shouldn't be. They should be out surfing. They should be out getting drunk and chasing girls. So no, don't do that because then you get in trouble later on here.
Were any of those people that were bad-mouthing you, would they bad-mouth their own children?
No, they'd be thrilled.
No, they'd be all proud as hell. Yeah. So I'll tell you what, ignore those people, but I want to talk about some of the issues, okay? Some of the things that we're dealing with, and let's focus on Orange County, okay? You guys you're running in Mission Viejo,
right.
You guys are San Clemente. Jose, who we will call in here in a minute, was running in Fullerton, and now I know you have a gentleman that's running in Buena Park. So this is not a localized thing. This is a countywide thing, and this is a midterm election.
Right.
I can't wait to see what you guys do in a general.
Right.
And one more in Costa Mesa.
And you got one more in Costa Mesa.
Yeah.
That is actually running.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who's running in Costa Mesa?
His name is Manuel Chavez.
So Manuel Chavez,
Very strong campaign.
If you're listening, call us. Give him the number, Paul.
949-330-7761. 949-330-7761. Operators standing by.
And anybody who's also interested in talking to these gentlemen will be on the air for another probably half an hour.
Yeah.
Please call us in. We're going to take a break.
And there's a forum today down in Saddleback. Plug that. That's where they're going to go.
Yeah,
right
what's
after
the forum that's going on that you guys need to go to after
So
this?
basically, we have a candidate forum at Saddleback College in the film theater. Excuse me.
Yeah.
We have Mike Levin, Katie Porter, as well as assembly candidates and state senate candidates, as well as an attorney general candidate who's going to be going there and then speaking. We'll be answering questions from the crowd, and it's a great way.
Shout out to Mike, who's been on the show as well.
And then we'll be there.
And you guys will be there.
So
Okay.
before you tell the issues, I just want to know what kind of... You talked about the pushback, and I can imagine how dare these kids think they can come in and run things. They haven't even run their own lives yet. Why are they going to run the city here? But then your pushback was, isn't it time for some new ideas? Isn't it time for some new perspectives?
Or some accountability.
Or some accountability.
And that's what we're doing.
But that's the killer, right? You guys are not walking in, and I know, you guys are progressive, but, at some point down the road,
there'll be conservative versions of you two
the
or
word
something.
progressive became a negative thing, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
being
Yeah,
actually advanced
absolutely.
in your thinking to be able to be progressive past the point of where we're stuck, regardless whether you're left-leaning or right-leaning. The word progressive became a negative somehow, right?
Yeah.
It's like the word...
Yeah.
It's a code word. We have just like affordable housing. We all know what it means. It means something other than what
It's a trigger
says.
word.
Yeah, it's a
and
trigger
we've
word.
become really a nation of trigger words. I don't have to have a conversation with you. I'll just sit here and list about 10 trigger words on my list, and you do the same, and then we basically don't see eye to eye. Everybody goes the other way.
Yeah,
and then we'll come
exactly.
back and do it in another
No
2
solutions.
years.
You are
Yeah.
completely
solution.
right about that. We live in a world of trigger words because we're triggering these emotions. It's not logical.
You know how easy it is to actually manipulate somebody that way?
Oh.
It is as old as time.
Yeah.
Division, divide, and conquer. Those things are as old as time. So anybody who's
And
thinking
play
they're
on
being
people's
smart
fears.
about it,
Right.
they're not
Yeah.
being smart about it. You guys are being unimaginative, actually. You're tapping into the core basis of humanity, and you're scaring people, and at some point, those people are going to basically push back, and when they push back, it is not going to be a pretty picture, and that
Right.
is what's happening now.
Right.
It's starting. It has not. It
Amen.
didn't just turn on its head and basically start overnight. This has been building. Okay, I will say this to people that are basically thinking
This'll go away.
we have an Orange County that is similar to what it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago. There was a report that was put out by UCLA and UCI called "The Changing Face of Orange County." And that was about probably 5-6 years ago. Anybody who's interested, go look it up. It's available online. You will see the changing demographics and breakdown of political arenas in Orange County. But I will tell you this. I have personally seen it in South County, the bastion, the boilerplate of Republican conservatism. I have seen it over the last 10 years where the Republican Party has been shedding people all day long to the independent, non-declared. The Democratic Party has kind of held its own. Has had a little bit of an uptick, but at this point in Orange County, including South Orange County, we have 30% of the population of registered voters that are basically non-party declared.
Yes.
Neither party in a general election is going to be able to carry the election
Right.
without appealing to that group
So
of
can I
people.
ask you a
Right.
quick question? How did
Right.
the traditional parties deal with you guys? Did either one of them embrace you? Did they fight you? Did they ignore you?
Yes. The
Yes,
well, the,
all three.
Yes, all
yes,
three.
Yeah.
So the Democratic Party of Orange County has been very supportive of us and helping us, helping us get to where we need to be with these campaigns and teach us that going door to door is the way to run a campaign. Hearing all the concerns of all the residents in your community,
Right.
that's how you run a campaign. And something that was really interesting, Jake and I were going door to door, and we stumbled upon one house. And the husband walks out, and he was there. We were talking about the issues. We were talking about San Onofre, what's going on in San Clemente. And he said he called his wife over, and he was so excited that we were running for San Clemente City Council. He was a registered Democrat. His wife had been a registered Republican for 30 years.
Yes, there are mixed households, people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his wife had just switched over and become a Democrat. And she said, "Look, I'm not entirely supportive of the Democratic Party by any means, but when I see an individual or two individuals running for city council who are young, passionate, really care about the issues and don't have outside influences, I'm going to vote for you guys."
Yeah, and I remember seeing them cross the street with the crossing guard back in the
Yeah.
day, right? I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because you said something. I think you posted something about where you were. One of you, was it you, Jake, that was in your old neighborhood, and you were basically
That was probably Jackson.
or was it you?
That was me today,
One of
yeah.
you guys was like canvassing, and it was in one of your old neighborhoods, and running into people that you kind of knew that were still living there, because again, as the baby boomers have aged, they haven't walked away from their neighborhoods. There's another crisis going on in Orange County, which is that people are staying in their homes longer, they're retiring, they're spending less on retail, and they're basically not paying payroll taxes anymore. So the property values, all this stuff, the traditional
Why are you
economic
looking at
engines.
me? Why are you
Huh?
looking at me?
No, I'm not dealing with you. You're further north. You're up in Rancho Mission. Where are you exactly?
I live in, actually, it's unincorporated Las Flores.
Yeah,
but
no,
it's
I
next
don't.
to
I don't
there.
care about what happens up there.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, but we talk about this on the show all the time. That the economic engines, real estate development as an economic engine, not being open to other things. That we have an aging population in Orange County.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big time.
And for you guys to be jumping into a situation where you want to be representative of that is part of the representative base. Is you have an aging population, especially in communities like Orange County, Mission Viejo,
Yeah.
where people are staying in their homes longer. Property values aren't going up because they're not no transactions are taking place.
Yeah.
So your tax base is remaining somewhat flat.
Yeah.
You have increase of service needs because of the aging population that the city and municipalities have to provide.
Right.
Right. You don't have retail sales because they don't usually, as people get older, they buy less.
Right.
Right.
And they don't buy local
And yet
anymore.
we're still trying to make the whole economic engine
Yeah.
work based on real estate development
Right.
and retail, and that's failing. Commercial retail is failing all around us.
Yeah.
People are buying from Amazon. So
Yeah.
where's the we are suffering from
Where's
a
the
lack
dough?
of we're suffering from a lack of imagination of reinventing ourselves as economic bases. And with that, you have to balance, are we providing jobs that are affordable in these communities?
That's a real downer conversation.
I
It's
think
our
the-
local PTA
Yeah.
party here, a local neighborhood party.
I think a big
all
problem.
your
that-
fault, Paul.
Yeah, but I think a big problem that the youth is facing as well is that we aren't going out and we aren't voting, and so the reason why politicians aren't listening to us and doing what we believe is in the best interest of ourselves is because we don't go out and vote.
Amen.
Yeah,
And-
you don't affect
and-
me, so why would I care
And
about what you have to say?
that's kind of the whole point of the coalition or the organization is not just to get go out and vote, but to stand up for what you believe in and push for these three values,
And-
such as affordable housing, uniting to end homelessness, and creating a sustainable environment for our future.
And I would say we're creating an example, and we're showing our youth you can be grassroots, you can knock on doors, and that works. You can take small dollar donations. You don't have to be, talking to corporations or the wealthy to get money. You can show up, you can be authentic, and you can stand for something, and that's how you get the youth involved.
Did we learn that with the Bernie Sanders campaign
Yeah.
last time
Exactly.
around, or
Yeah.
even with the Obama campaign first time
Shocked
around?
everybody.
Yeah, at the beginning it was very much like that.
Right.
And that's where those sparks came from.
Did you guys, by any chance, bring like your Canvas thing or your issues printout?
I left it in the car.
Okay.
I brought it.
I have a lot of it in my trunk.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, I was actually even impressed with your collateral material because you're also using it very visibly on social media. Like you're taking pictures where you got the pamphlet, and it's basically very graphical, very different from what people are handing out to people, right? And you have your platform right there. So make sure if anybody is before we go to the break and before we call Jose. I want you guys, because you all individually have your own websites or your whole social media presence, right? So let's go around the table. Tell people how they can find about you. And I'm going to start with you, Mmoud, because these two are both from San Clemente.
Yeah. So you can check out more about my priorities and what I stand for at elfarra4mv.com.
Spell it.
ELFARRA, then the number 4, mv.com. And my Instagram is also elfarra4mv. It's ELFARRA. And it's the number 4. I cannot stress that enough.
Okay.
Not FOR, but the number 4 and then MV.
Why do you have an issue with somebody else? No, because it happens. It happens, right?
Maybe it's already taken.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
No, it's elfarra4mv.
Okay, for the number 4.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, relevant to Mission Viejo, is it an at-large or is it districted?
It's an at-large. So the city...
Is there a districting effort undergoing?
Yeah, so this is a huge issue that's happening in Mission Viejo. We were recently sued because we were violating the California Voter Rights Act, but we came into an agreement to move into cumulative voting. So we're looking to be the first city in the entire state to do cumulative voting.
And what is that? I don't even know
So
what that is.
basically, 2 years from now, we're having another election where all 5 candidates are up and everyone has 5 votes. And we can distribute all 5 votes to any candidate we want. So let's say I want to distribute 3 to one candidate or 2 to the other, or you want to just put all 5 of your votes into one candidate.
You as a voter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it really isn't a vote-based system. It's more of a point-based system.
Okay.
And that really goes away from a true democracy.
Interesting.
So I'm assuming you're not in favor of
Yeah,
this?
so a lot of people think that I'm not in favor of cumulative voting because of racial reasons, and because the reason why we aren't going into districts is because the city is already racially integrated well enough. However, I see it as more of a representation issue.
Okay.
Why not just move into districts and better our city that way? Why not have 4 districts and then 1 at-largely elected mayor?
Okay, which some cities do, and
Yeah.
most cities down south don't actually. They kind of rotate.
Isn't that what Anaheim does? We have
Yeah,
heard.
Anaheim
Yeah,
has
North
an
And
election.
I'm really pushing that
Ashley
effort to
Aitken,
move.
actually, who's been on here, is running for that.
Yeah.
So with that being said, okay, what was the reason? What was the reason for the lawsuit? What was the basis for?
Yeah.
that?
So we have
When you say
now
underrepresentation based on what?
race. So we have a Hispanic and Latino population of
That's
nearly
underrepresented. So
20%.
it's similar to what happened in Anaheim.
Because the California Voter Rights Act states that if a population is exceeding a certain amount and they are being misrepresented, you have to move into districts. However, it's weird in Mission Viejo because apparently they're racially integrated well enough to where if you did line them up into districts, they still wouldn't get the majority.
The spread would still be.
Yeah. But I don't see it that way. I see it more as, we need to move into districts, not for racial reasons, but for a better form of representation for all residents of the city of Mission Viejo.
And why? So we've had several of the candidates in here. Wendy Bucknam's been in here. Former Mayor Greg Rath's been in here.
Yeah.
I wouldn't picture Mission Viejo. I would picture Mission Viejo as to be a pretty similar. If I went to every neighborhood in Mission Viejo, they would kind of
equal
be
diversity distribution.
Exactly, economically, ethnically, all that stuff. So why? Then would you want to break it into districts? Because districts are generally, if one group is feeling that they're not all the candidates come from one neighborhood, usually the wealthy neighborhood, and dominate the politics in that community.
So with that being said, we're going to take a break. I want to call Jose in. I want to come back because the districting issue is also one in San Clemente, and unless you guys convince me otherwise, I'm against it down there. I understand it when it's based on something what happened in Anaheim or possibly what happened in Mission Viejo, but I don't see the reasoning behind it. In fact, I see a little bit of too much handiwork behind the scenes in San Clemente on it. But it is a topic that comes up in a lot of cities these days, and we'll touch on other stuff. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. When we come back, we're going to call Jose. If you're listening, we're going to be calling you here in a few minutes, and we'll be right back.
All right.
Thank you.
When you use the Premier Rewards Gold Card from American Express, the rewards points can keep on multiplying. Buy 3 with triple points on airfare. Buy 2 with double points on gas and groceries. And a single point for pretty much every other dollar you spend on the card. Then, start choosing from over 1 million rewards to redeem all those points. Apply today and the annual fee for the first year is on us. Call 1-800-AXP-GOLD or visit AXPGold.com. The annual fee for the card is $175. See terms, conditions, and restrictions at AXPGold.com.
I'm on the observation deck of the Empire State Building to demonstrate how much material Waste Management recycles. As North America's largest residential recycler, last year alone, Waste Management recycled 12.9 million tons. How much is that? Let's do the math. Carry the 6. It's enough to fill this building more than 27 times. With experience like that, we're bound to have a program that can help your business recycle. Talk to Waste Management or visit thinkgreen.com.
Do you want a free analysis of your inbound marketing? Do you want it in 30 seconds or less? Then check out Marketing Grader, the free marketing tool from HubSpot. It's simple. Just go to marketinggrader.com, enter the URL that you want to analyze, and Marketing Grader will instantly give you a detailed report grading your lead generation, mobile marketing, social media, competitive benchmarking, and more. It's simple, it's powerful, and it's free. marketinggrader.com. All right, we're back.
Okay, so two things I just want to make sure, because before we run out of time. The reason why I have all these gentlemen in, and it's really impossible to really give them all equal time on here with the time that we have, although I invite you guys back, right? And even some of you guys are, well, why are you having us all in? Why don't I just get the whole hour? Like Mmoud is like, well, can I get the whole hour? And I'm
Please.
like, I promise you can come and get the whole hour, right?
Let's
And
do
that
it.
same thing goes for the gentleman that's running Costa Mesa and Buena Park. But I really wanted everybody to be aware of this for the reason that really grabbed my attention. You have a group of young men and women that are basically students for all intents and purposes, or recent graduates, that are able to run for office, that are so engaged in what's happening in their lives, in their communities, that they are at a very young age involved in not only running for office, but organizing beyond their own communities on a county level. Okay? Just stop for a minute and let that sink in, everybody that's listening. Okay? When was the last time you saw that kind of effort, grassroots, take place? And if you do anything, I don't care if you agree with the fact that these gentlemen are basically up to the job or not, if you do anything other than be supportive of them stepping up and willing to basically be a public service, do me a favor. If you're on my Facebook, take me off your Facebook. Eliminate me from your LinkedIn, because you basically have completely lost touch with reality of what it is that you should be celebrating and what you shouldn't be.
It's civic engagement.
Okay,
Yeah.
civic engagement. I don't care if you agree with the person running or not. I don't care if I agree with you as a candidate or not. I will respect and honor and champion and celebrate the fact that you are willing to put yourself, especially in the environment that it is today, put yourself out there to be of service to others. And if you cannot understand that, like I said, just take me off, man. Block me. Take me off your social media. I don't have any interest in basically engaging with you. Okay, it's because you're not part of the solution. You're part of the problem.
We say everybody wants to participate, but I've always wondered really whether the parties want everybody to participate. We do an awful lot to keep people from running.
If you don't want to participate, then get out of the way. Get the heck out of the way.
Well, because you got control when you have a limited number of people voting and a limited number of people contributing and a limited number of candidates.
If you don't vote, I don't want to hear about what your opinions are the next day.
It's hard to control.
Okay, I come from a place where we didn't have the right to
people.
vote. If you don't exercise your right and responsibility, and there is no right without responsibility for all those who believe they have all the rights in the world, but they don't have any accountability, forget that. The two are not separate in my mind. Okay? So, with that being said, and because everybody wants to be involved,
Yes.
let's involve Jose. So, is Jose on the line?
Jose is on the line. Welcome, Jose.
Hey.
Jose, introduce yourself first.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Jose Trinidad Castaneda.
Hello, Jose.
I'm a candidate for Fullerton City Council.
And now I understand. Are you currently running?
So not in this race, but in 2020.
So you're running,
Okay.
but for
So I'm
2020.
Right, I'm starting very early.
Now I know in Fullerton you guys are districted already, right?
Yes.
So what district are you running for 2020?
District 4. It's actually, I have an opportunity to move into the house I was born in and help lead in the affordable housing movement.
Yeah.
So I want to help create an ADU, or an accessory dwelling unit, to help show people that it's possible to build affordable housing fairly quickly with what we
So
have.
you're not only talking the talk, you're walking the walk, and you're actually being by example showing what can be done.
Exactly.
And what's an ADU?
I'm sorry, how old are you?
Yeah, and how old are you, and what's an ADU?
I'm 27 years old, and an ADU is an accessory dwelling unit.
What does that mean?
Commonly known as a granny flat.
Oh, okay.
It could be a studio, a one-bedroom, or two-bedroom.
Which again, because of the aging population, a lot of communities have actually adopted that into their building code.
But they've also fought that in places like Orange and otherwise because they see it that they're going to it's all going to be Airbnb. We're going to be renting these out, and you're going to have more people and more demand on the transportation. And
Yeah, so
parking
you know
and
what? Let's the hell
more
with the
density.
hell with Granny.
That's right. We ship Granny somewhere else.
Yeah, so
Millennial flats, then.
millennial flat. Well, you know what? Maybe we should call them that, Jose.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty good because it's the same need as for seniors,
Yeah.
for people that are starting that.
But a lot of cities you can't do that. You can't build another unit in the
So
back of
do you
your yard.
r-
Right?
remind everybody, because I think I know the reason, but the reason, I mean, Fullerton just got districted recently, right?
Right.
Like one election cycle,
this
maybe?
Is the first election.
But this is the first election with it being districted. And was it also based on lack of representation or lower representation based on race?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
there was 2 lawsuits filed by a Latino community member and a Korean community member, and basically they used the California Voting Rights Act
Yeah.
to make the case that Fullerton needed more diverse representation and that districts could help with that.
So for everybody that's out there, I mean, you've heard it from at least 2 cities. From Mission Viejo, I know it's on the ballot of Measure, I think, is it Measure V in San Clemente?
Yeah.
Yeah, Measure V in San Clemente.
Yeah.
And then you know, as far north as Fullerton, at least here from Jose, this is something that every voter should be aware of. This has been going on a little bit under the radar, but it's becoming more and more an issue that every city's facing.
And we've had people say pros and cons about
Yeah.
it. Obviously, the pro is, in many of these cities, there is one group of people, generally they come from the most affluent neighbor part of the city, and they tend to dominate the local elections. They run all the races, they've got the money, they've got the support, and other communities, particularly the poorer parts
Anaheim
of the
was
city,
one of those situations.
don't get any representation, they feel.
Anaheim was one of those situations. However, Anaheim, the basis for the districting was, again, based on racial underrepresentation.
Now, the flip side of
even
that,
though most of the people that basically ran for office in Anaheim tended to live in Anaheim Hills. And
Yeah.
so there was a geographic component. However, that it was not the reason for it was districted. It was districted because of the lack of representation for the Latino
and then the flip
population.
side, we've had people arguing here, is the flip side is then you're getting more polarized. You're only representing one little slice of the city, and you don't care what happens to the rest of the
to
city.
be candid and fair, that's my position on it in San Clemente, because
Yeah.
somebody has tried to make the case, the fact that everybody that's currently on city council, I mean, 65,000 people in San Clemente, the footprint is very small.
Right.
Okay, we're basically sandwiched between Dana Point and Pendleton, right? And San Juan on the other side, and you know, people have been trying to, in my opinion, make a very, very flimsy case for districting based on the fact that the current and maybe recent, but most so the current city council members all come from the same neighborhood on the south end of town. Which, by the way, anybody who lives in San Clemente, that's where they want to end up living anyway. So you know, basically, as they move from Tolega or whatever, they all want to end up basically closer to the ocean. So if you are wanting to live closer to the ocean, the reason why we are districting San Clemente is because how dare you all want to live closer to the ocean, right? I don't really believe that in San Clemente that is enough of a grounds for districting, and I feel that it's being used as a political tool to maneuver people out of it that have been engaged and to put other people in it. And much as I support it in Anaheim, as much as I support it, I'm not sure about Mission Viejo, I don't know enough about it, as much as I support it probably in Fullerton, because I know there's an area in Fullerton that is underrepresented, that is mostly Latino. I would not have supported it in Anaheim, by the way, if it was solely because the people all came from Anaheim Hills. Although there's more reason there. In San Clemente, I don't support districting. And
So
I
what
was-
are
I
your
came
two
out-
camp-
I-
well-
all right, that's your position. What are your two?
Yeah, so
what
you
do
guys
Yeah,
can
I
convince
mean,
me
I would-
otherwise. I'm good for it.
I would definitely agree with the assessment that it's not right now needed because we don't have campaign finance reform in our city. So if you break us up into districts, massive amounts of money can go into these small races, and before you know it, you're just buying these candidates. And to me, that's the biggest
Yeah.
issue that we're facing when we're talking about districting. first campaign finance reform, then let's talk about districting. If we're going to go straight for districting, it's going to be less accountability. It's going to be a mistake. I guarantee.
Do they have
You know,
campaign?
I wonder what I love about that answer.
What?
Is I set it up. Okay, I actually put it out there because I was wanting more substance to what this conversation is all about. You cannot look at it myopically.
Exactly.
You got to look at it large picture. And to the credit of these two gentlemen, and why I'm saying anybody who doesn't understand the caliber of what's happening here needs to look again. That is a very sophisticated answer that you just got.
And is there
you cannot have districting in a place like San Clemente without campaign reform.
And is there campaign reform
I'll go even
in the county?
I'll go even
Yes.
yes. There is.
Where?
So there's a handful of cities that have.
I didn't think there were any. Yeah.
Oh,
There's a handful of cities that have campaign contribution limits. They
Irvine.
Sunshine clause.
Yeah, sunshine
Right
laws.
for against lobbying not being basically
Exactly.
registered lobbying.
You have term limits. in a
Term limits
handful of
is another
cities.
one I would basically, and I have been championing for a while. Why is it? Are you going to be all offended and bent out of shape and insist on districting, but you get all bent out of shape the minute somebody says term limit?
Exactly. And that's why Jake and I put forth, obviously the conversation around districting has been going on for some time, and it's going to be voted on this year. And I think that the residents of San Clemente should be the ones to, make the decision on whether we move forward with districting or not.
Right.
Regardless, though, we need to make sure that right now, while we have a city council, 5 members that are accountable, that they implement those campaign finance and anti-corruption laws. So we actually created a petition that has over 350 signatures. We're going to be taking that to the next city council meeting on October 2nd. And has 3 demands. It's the demands that there's term limits of no more than 8 years, even if you shift districts and run in a different district.
Yeah.
That there's a campaign contribution
Surely
limit.
people don't do that.
Yeah,
But there's a
exactly.
campaign contribution limit of $500. And so to make sure that each candidate has a broad base of support. And third, and it's I think one of the most important things to look at, is that if a candidate or a council member ever receives donations from a developer, that if that same developer has a decision up in front of the city council, that city council member cannot make a decision.
No, they
on
have
it.
to recuse
abstain.
themselves.
Well, what's the
Exactly.
point of getting the contribution if they can't cash it in? Come on, that's the whole divide the developers pour in money. So
Oh,
that's going on.
how far you have fallen, baby.
What's the issue, Jose? Up where
Yeah,
you're
what are
running?
some of the issues in Fullerton, Jose?
Some of the
Affordable housing is
and-
one that you said, but what else?
Yeah, affordable housing and ending homelessness. Public safety was a big concern to a lot of folks in my area, especially with the increase in robberies. And clean water, clean parks, just having a clean city overall. Those are the top 3 to 4 issues in the city. But again, if you talk with different residents in different areas, you'll hear more about the water versus a crime.
What about this thing? Let's talk about homelessness for a second. I'm just going to go round table really quick, right?
3 minutes.
Do you have a problem? Do we have a homelessness problem in Fullerton, Jose?
We have a housing crisis that contributes to the homeless problem, along with the lack of access to mental health resources that a lot of our homeless population desperately needs. And if we're not mindful of the aging homeless population, we're going to have multiple crises within the coming years.
Surely we don't have a homeless problem in Mission Viejo, Mom.
Well, the homelessness problem in Mission Viejo is a lot more tricky than most cities in the county. However, I see homelessness as a county problem, and every single city in the entire county has to work together to really address this problem.
So we should just ship them off to some other
No,
city,
no,
right?
that's
Fullerton.
usually
Ship 'em
no,
to
no, no.
Fullerton.
Like I said before, we do need every city working together so that we can create a resolution where we aren't just taking homelessness people that we see in Mission Viejo, which there
And can I
is.
throw out another issue? Because
Yeah.
this has come up a number of times in discussions here. Should we have a big mass homeless center? They've talked about building one in Fullerton and other places.
Oh, no.
Or should we have lots of little neighborhood ones where you shift these?
Well, I don't
where
know. Are you planning to abdicate your responsibility to your fellow human being?
I'm saying that right now. I'm not even going to answer that. Right now, there
Oh,
are two proposals on the books.
Yeah.
One is to do lots of little neighborhood
How
ones.
Catholic is that to abdicate your responsibility?
Well, that's what I'm good at.
I think that we need to, reintroduce these individuals into normal society.
Right.
We need to build trust with these individuals who've had a extreme lack of trust with society, and they feel like that they've been, pushed out. And this is the best way to do it.
Let's humanize this thing a little bit more. Let's not talk about them being individuals, right? Let me just share some statistics with everybody that's listening that basically looks at the homeless problem as being these undesirable, single, drug-infested, burning down with open fires, my backyard,
peeing all over my lawn,
all over my lawn. My dog disappears because somebody ate him.
Right.
All right. Let me explain something. The largest growth in the homeless population is families and seniors. And most people are homeless and living in motels in Anaheim. Most people are living in their cars. Every single one of those groups, families and seniors, are one paycheck, one medical bill away from being homeless. Homeless can be temporary, and homeless can be longer term.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And you have to provide services, not just housing. You have to provide support services to transition people. Most people don't want to be homeless. Yes, I know there's a few people that it's a lifestyle, and I want to hang out by the beach, and we used to call those guys gypsies or vagabonds.
Or there are mental health issues. I mean,
but there's also a mental health issue. How many of those homeless people are veterans?
But again,
there's veterans. There's
again,
seniors.
nobody answered the question. Do you take as the answer to find mass places, one mass shelter that's economically easier to sustain? Find some part of the county that doesn't impact the neighborhoods, and you build a big center, which is what some of the county supervisors are talking about. I think it was in Fullerton. They were talking about building a big homeless shelter, wasn't it? And then
what that sounds to me?
Versus little neighborhood ones, which spreads it out.
What that sounds to me? That sounds to me like a bunch of people have consultants that are going to make a lot of money on it.
Well,
They're basically going to be supported by those supervisors.
I'm just saying, there's two totally different approaches to this.
Kind of reminds me of the TCA and the toll road.
Little neighborhood ones where we build them here and there, but then you're impacting more neighborhoods and you're bringing homeless into the neighborhood.
Let me put a task force together, and there'll be a lot of consultants. They'll make very big feed contracts in order to centralize this thing and basically issue big monies on it.
Like the
And at the end of the day, how do we quantify the result? Is there going to be actually quantifiable benchmarks that basically show this transition? Because I'll tell you, I do not trust the supervisors. Supervisors have had over $100 million that were sitting in their back pocket. $200 million. And they basically said, I didn't realize I had $200 million. Let me tell you something. I don't care what that was slotted for. If you're a supervisor and you had lost track of $200 million somewhere in the budget, that is grounds for you to not be holding that seat anymore.
Exactly.
Well, how about the Great Park? How much money did they piss through with the Great Park with these great ideas?
Or the Neptune project, or the toll road, or the Arctic that's in Anaheim that now saddles the city with, what is it, $3 million or whatever out of their general budget every year.
I think that what we need to do each individually and what we're each pushing for is not for, the city of Fullerton or the city of Mission Viejo or San Clemente to take on homelessness entirely and be, the champions of it. I think we each need to do our fair share in addressing homelessness.
Yeah.
We need to hold the Orange County Board of Supervisors accountable and providing us with the funds to do that.
Right.
And we need to make sure that, providing housing and support services for homeless individuals, not because that's a political move, but because that's the way everyone's, all these homeless organizations are moving, that it doesn't turn into another issue like with the sober living homes.
Another well-intended...
sober living homes, where you had a well-intended,
purpose
campaign, and they were extremely unregulated and were just a way for, wealthy people to make even more money and
profit
not
off of the
help
community.
others.
Yeah.
There's an old adage that I'm reminded by, and it seems politicians just forget it. Okay, it's he who lives by the sword dies by the sword.
Oh, forget that.
Okay, and you will die by the sword. So here's the thing. I want to give these guys just a chance to give out the websites, starting with Jose, because we're going to have to close this show and move on to the next one. So Jose, how do people find out about your campaign?
You can find out more on Jose4council.com.
You guys like the number
here.
4s,
yeah.
Okay, and then Jackson, how do people find about your campaign?
I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Hinkle4, the number 4 SC. And I have my, website and my bio on each of those accounts and that petition I talked about earlier on all those
spell
accounts.
Hinkle.
Yeah, Hinkle.
Okay.
And then,
and I'm also on Facebook and Twitter at Mmoud Al Far. That's MAHMOUD, and the last name is EL-FARRA. And on Instagram at Alfara, the number 4 MV. And my website is alfara4mv.com.
And then Jake, go ahead about you.
Yeah, you can find me on all the social media platforms at Jake, the number 4. SC. And you can see our website. Jackson and I, we kind of share a website. It's OC Students. firstcitycouncil.org, and on there you can find Jackson and I. We have separate pages on there. You can find all of our other candidates on that website as well.
So if you're in Costa Mesa, if you are in Buena Park, if you're in San Clemente, if you're in Mission Viejo, these gentlemen are running in 2018.
Give them a listen.
If you're in Fullerton, Jose is running in 2020.
And we got more
And we
coming.
will have way more.
And they got
Yeah.
more coming.
All
so
across.
you need
Yeah.
to pay attention to these guys one way or the other, because they're coming after those seats, and they're organized, and they are only going to get better. And I will tell you, if you don't pay attention to this, you're going to be looking back and going, what the heck just happened?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I am very impressed by you, gentlemen. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
standing
Thank
up
you,
and
Rad.
wanting to be
Thank
of
you for having
service.
us.
Yeah.
And good luck with your campaigns.
Thank you.
Jose, thank you for joining us from Fullerton. Good luck with your campaign as well in 2020.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Hey, would you guys all promise me something right here today? If you get elected, will you do something different? Don't just be another version.
We're
of
doing
what we
something
already
different
had.
today.
You
We're
are
going to
doing
continue
something
that when we
different.
run.
I hope you
Creating
continue.
positive change.
Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's the Raad Life.
You have been listening to the Raad Life Radio Show with your host and age explorer, Rod Gantos, brought to you on the one and only octalkradio.net. Join us again next week as we continue our journey of discovery into life's challenges, opportunities, options, and all the latest and greatest things that come with getting older.
When you use the Premier Rewards Gold Card from American Express, the rewards points can keep on multiplying. Buy 3 with triple points on airfare. Buy 2 with double points on gas and groceries. And a single point for pretty much every other dollar you spend on the card. Then, start choosing from over 1 million